Hello, everyone. Welcome to another BDPA Tech and Career Talk. I am your host, Devin Jenkins, our National Tech and Career Talk leader. I serve as the IT pricing leader for US and Canada at GE Healthcare, currently located in Charlotte, North Carolina. So glad to have you all with us. I'm excited to have our friends from ServiceNow with us here today, who we will hear from here very shortly. But for those of you who may be new to the Tech and Career Talks, first just let you know what BDPA is and what we're all about, and then what the Tech and Career Talks are all about. And then I'll turn the floor over to Patricia and Troy, who will walk us through our conversation today. So BDPA, Black Data Processing Associates, has been around since 1975. The organization has kind of two main purposes. One is building up computer and technology skills within our youth, especially at the middle and high school levels. Our high school coding competition is our kind of hallmark event for students at the national conference each year. And then we also are a forum for professionals in the IT industry to continue to develop their skills and build their networks. And our mantra is advancing careers from the classroom to the boardroom. So excited to have you all with us. Rich Legacy here at BDPA. Our Tech and Career Talks is one of our main professional development forums. These talks occur second and fourth Friday of each month. We have speakers from different points in their careers, different companies, different career paths within tech, within different parts around career development. So some weeks we're talking about entrepreneurship. Last 2 weeks ago, we talked about emotional intelligence with Samuel Davis. Sometimes we might be talking about cloud or brain machine interaction. So you never really know what you're going to get. We like to mix it up and give a little bit of something that works for everyone. That can impact and benefit anybody at any point in their career. So thank you for joining. I'll drop some links in the chat later, but I want to encourage you to go to conference.bdpa.org. Make sure you register for BDPA Con 23. We will be in Atlanta, Georgia, again at the Westin Peachtree Plaza, August 17th through the 19th. So it'll be a great time. Some good things coming up. If you're in the email list, you should have seen some newsletters going out here recently. So make sure you go register for the conference so we can see you in Atlanta in August. Also, the recording for this talk, as well as all of our previous talks, will be on our YouTube channel. That's National BDPA. So go like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff that the influencers say. And I also dropped the link for our bdpa.org/tech and career talks, where there's a consolidated list of all of our previous talks as well. And you'll be able to find this recording there also. So that's my spiel. I'm going to get out of the way and hand it over to our friends at ServiceNow today, who we're excited to have. So Patricia, I'll let you kind of kick things off in your own way, and then we'll let Troy have the floor and do his thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. So happy to be here with you today. We have some exciting information to share with you. Let me just share my screen. As we were introduced, yes, we are with ServiceNow. I am an engagement lead with ServiceNow, and my partner Troy here will introduce him in a moment. But first, before we get started, wanted to share a screen with you, just so, or actually the agenda with you. First, we're going to do an introduction of ServiceNow, our career talk, and then we'll have some time for question and answers, and then we'll show you how to stay connected with us. But I wanted to also, as I said, it's Troy and I wanted to share a registration link with you all so that you can stay in touch with us. We do different professional development workshops, open house, so you can learn more about ServiceNow more in depth, get a chance to talk to recruiters and hiring managers about the opportunities and things that we have. Those will start in August, so I want to share the registration link with you so we can stay in touch. As I said, my name is Patricia Walker. I'm an engagement lead. I'm on the talent outreach and engagement team. And my cohort today is Troy Wood. He's the Director of Product Success Employee Workflow. So we'll talk a little bit more about Troy in just a moment, but here is the registration QR code. If you would please take out your phone, take a quick snapshot of this and fill out the information later. We'd like to stay in touch with you. Again, when there's opportunities that arise, we'd like to share that information with you, professional development workshops, open house, or any exciting thing things that we're doing at ServiceNow, we certainly would like to be able to stay connected. Okay. So just a quick overview of ServiceNow. Our purpose is to make the world work better for everyone. So we were built on a simple concept here at ServiceNow to make the world work better for everyone. We retain the customer-centric approach to our work that is embedded in our DNA as a company. From the very beginning, our founder wanted to create a easy coding system for anyone to use in order to help workflows, whether it was within your company or with clients, mirroring systems. He wanted it to be easy and functionally ready for anyone and everyone. So he created this platform, ServiceNow, started the company ServiceNow. Our ambition is to become the defining enterprise software company of the 21st century. So here at ServiceNow, we dream really big. Our dream is to become the defining SaaS company or software as a service company of the 21st century. And we're going to do that by delivering customer-grade customer experience. So we strive to deliver next level experience to everyone we serve, from our customers, our end users, to our partners, and even our employees. We are an experienced company, and at its core, our origin and incredible success and brand promise. So our values, we have 4 core values: wow our customers, win as a team, create belonging, and stay hungry and stay humble. My top 2 probably is stay hungry and stay humble, and creating belonging. Diversity is a huge initiative for us, and it's actually embedded in everything that we do. We want diversity of thought. We want diversity of ethnicity. We want people to be able to come to ServiceNow and be your authentic self, whatever that is. Just a few awards that we've received. Best company, best places to work, best places to work for parents and women. And I would say most definitely, I work remote, and most of us work remotely. I do see that this company, compared to other companies I've worked for, other Fortune 100 companies, really do care about the employees and how we're functioning in our roles, but not only that, but our personal lives as well. We try to, and of course, every job gets really busy at certain points, but trying to maintain work-life balances. We have mental health days or health days once a month. So the company is closed to give us a moment to just retreat and relax and rejuvenate ourselves before we move on. So that's a nice to have here at ServiceNow. I really appreciate the wellness days because you do need to take a break. But there are just a few of awards that we've received and recognitions that we're humbled to have received. So our platform can help you solve most pressing business needs, from customer experiences, again, to employee experiences. We recently revamped and used our platform to marry some of the softwares that we use in HR. So now we have one platform to go to, one site to go to do all of the things that we need, from accounting, doing procurement, for recruiting, or finding our benefits. That's how we helped our employees, and we certainly do the same thing for our customers. So whether it's operating experience, technology, or building and automating your systems, ServiceNow, one platform can do that for you. So moving on to our career talk today, I'm really excited about the information that Troy is going to share: learning and enhancing your leadership style and planning your rewarding career, which is really important. I think a lot of times some of us suffer from imposter syndrome and wonder, are we capable of doing things? We get a little flustered sometimes when we're given a project and not knowing where to start. So learning how to enhance your leadership style, learning how to manage your career is really, really important. So Troy Wood, again, is the Director of Product Success Employee Workflows. So just a quick overview. He lives in Durham. He's been in the business for 30 years. He's an HBCU grad several times over. For those who are HBCU grads, put it in the chat. We'd like to see where you graduated from. And Troy has a wonderful family, a wife and kids. So I'll let him share more if he'd like to share that about himself, but you can read his bio here. So I'll turn it over to Troy.
Hey, good morning again, everyone. Happy to be here. And thank you, Patricia, for the excellent introduction. Like she said, I mean, you can read my bio here, but I've had a diverse career. I was a soldier, and I've been at various companies, you know, Fortune 500, Fortune 100, even Fortune 50 companies. I've been at startups. I've been an entrepreneur. I've been all of those things. And I can say unequivocally, aside from the Army, ServiceNow is the best company that I've worked for, and I'm happy to be here. And I tease everybody. I say, yeah, this is my retirement job. This is my retirement company. So that should tell you how much I enjoyed here and the flexibility that I have. So next slide, please. So you might want to you might want to know why I've picked you know, enhancing your leadership style and managing your career. The context behind that and the rationale behind that is, in technology, you have to demonstrate leadership. It's not just about technical skill, right? Because you can acquire technical skills. You've got open source classrooms, you've got this, you've got that. So that, to be honest with you, acquiring the technical skills, because I can still write code. You know, I can write code with my eyes closed. It's about that, but it's also about what you're bringing to that job. What experience are you bringing? What ideas and those types of things, and what leadership capability you have. Because if you look at technology in general, the teams and companies that do well have excellent leadership. They might not have the best software engineers, but they got great leaders that can inspire and get you motivated properly, right? So that you and set the tone for you to be your authentic self. So you can do that. So part of what's important, everybody at some point, you will lead something. You know, you will lead. I used to tell my troops, you know, you come in as a private E1, at some point, you're going to be responsible for something. You're going to lead something. So I tell my teams that at some point you're going to lead something. So understanding your leadership style, having some skills in that area to support you will be beneficial. And then the career piece. Here's something that I stress to Black folks all the time. Manage your career. Don't let somebody else manage it. I tell my teams now, I'm not going to manage your career. You tell me what you want to do, and part of my role as your manager is to help you achieve those things, right? Take those roadblocks out of your path. Okay, so that's the context of why I chose these two topics. Next slide, please. Any questions so far? So here we have sobering statistics. I'm not going to read this, but I want you to walk away with this. This is telling you there is opportunity. There is opportunity for you to develop yourself as a leader, right? No matter what company you're in. It is a great opportunity, but you got to go out and seize it. So if you see that 83% there, that's the percentage of companies that believe it's important to develop leaders at every level of the company. That is incredible. That is incredible. Read that. That is incredible. So you have opportunity. Even where you are, you have opportunity. You just got to go look around. Next slide, please. So what is leadership? Okay, a couple things I want to highlight. If you look at bullet number 2, it's an act or instance of leading, guidance and direction. And I want to stress that guidance and direction. One thing as a leader is to be able to provide guidance and direction, right? And to, get in, take a risk, take on challenges, challenge the status quo and build something, do something that is better, something that is new, something that is innovative. That's what leadership is. Management is maintain, right? Maintenance. But leadership is getting you and your team and your organization to the next level. Okay? So C. Hill, I don't know what your first name is. What's the difference between leadership and management? You can take yourself off mute. Okay, what about you, Andre?
Yes, I would say, leadership obviously is creating the spirit, creating the direction, inspiring folks. Whereas, management is more about processes, right? Steps, ABC 1, 2, 3, but it may not enhance someone's experience or inspire them to do more as they grow and develop in a company or an organization.
Perfect. Oh man, I couldn't have said that better myself. Next slide, please. Thank you, Andre. So what is leadership style? And why is it important? So think about leadership style is, basically all of those, behaviors and methods and the way you do things, interacting with your team, right? And managing, leading your team. It's like, what is that strategy? What are our goals? How do we respond to changes? How do we respond to adversity? How do we respond to just anything, right? How do I get that, right? And why is it important? Well, one, it directly impacts your team. It can directly impact the productivity of your team. It impacts whether your team trusts you or not, right? It impacts, hey, did I create a safe space for my team to be open and honest and to be communicative, right? So it is really important to have understand how your leadership style can affect your team. Not just your team, but teams and partners that you interact with outside of your team. It can impact them, right? You see those abrasive leaders, I don't call them leaders, they're authoritarian, right? They don't get the best out of their people. They don't. They get the bare minimum out of them. So what are the main leadership styles? So transformational, that person, that transformational leader is, hey, we're experiencing all these changes and things like that. So I'm going to inspire you. I'm going to get you to the next level, get you excited to move forward and tap into that potential. What's about delegative, right? That's people that tend to build strong trust in their team, right? And they'll delegate authority, tasks, and things like that. They're not taskmasters or anything. They want you to use your creativity, be resourceful, and things like that. And then you have authoritative. So not to be confused with authoritarian. Authoritative, like it says there, hey, follow me, visionary, like Elon Musk, he's definitely authoritative, right? He can be motivating, but not always in a positive way, but he can be motivating, right? Transactional. And to me, this is like one of the worst ones. This is Troy's opinion. it relies on rewards and punishments and things like that. And what I find oftentimes with transactional, it's more on the punishment side, right? I've had customers worked on projects at certain customer organizations, and I'll tell you, they had I call it a punishment culture, right? Yeah, and everybody's scared to do anything. And then participative, right? That's just getting listening and working with your teams and getting them involved in decision making and all that kind of thing, collaborating, communicating, and all that good stuff. And then situation, right? And this could be around depending on what's happening, right? You might be in a stressful situation, you have a tight deadline, you're going through a merger and acquisition, and they rise to the occasion. So these are the main leadership styles. So I'm going to ask you a question and see what your answers are. So Cherie Lawson, which of these probably best describes you? And I can tell you, it doesn't have to just be one.
Oh, no, absolutely. So I am very much transformational. I want to inspire and change systematically. So putting people in place to identify what the root cause is and finding solutions for that and inspiring people to make that type of change. In all transparency, I don't delegate very well because I like to get in and get my hands dirty and do it myself. But somewhere between transformational and participative and situational.
Okay, good. Lavelle, did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, you did. For me, it would be participative. In my current role, it's important that everyone's voice be heard in regards to coming up with solutions that apply to the majority. And for instance, say if you're putting together a security program and you have stakeholders that's internal and external. So it's very important to make sure in order to be able to gain access to information that you know where people are coming from, what media they're using. So when the final product is put in place, everyone has access. And so that comes with talking to all the stakeholders and looking at all of the risks and options that you might have with putting together a successful project. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. So a couple of things here I want to emphasize on leadership style, and this is important. I learned this. I learned this from my father. Learned this in the military. One of the things you have to be as a leader is decisive. That doesn't mean you have to be arrogant and you do it my way or the highway. What that means is you're capable of making that decision. You make that decision. However, if you realize the decision that you made is wrong, you change course. That is a sign of a good leader. Once they realize they made a bad decision, they go and correct it. Not hide from it, but go change direction and correct it. And that is extremely important, irrespective of which of these main leadership styles you are, is being decisive. Next slide, please. So here's a little simple map. So I try to keep all this stuff simple, right? So how do you find your leadership style? So number one there, and this is the part that I want to emphasize, you've got to understand who you really are, right? And you have to have absolute candor and brutal honesty with yourself, right? And bring your authentic self. Bring it. Even if your authentic self is quirky. I'm quirky. I know I'm quirky. Ask my wife, she'll tell you I'm quirky, but I embrace it. You know, I got good morals and values and that kind of stuff, but I'm quirky. So I embrace it. And by me enabling to embrace it, I understand who I am, right? Then number two, you know, understand your values and your challenges. You're not going to be good at everything. Admit that to yourself. Okay? Identify what's important to you, right? Where you want to be, where you are successful and where you struggle. That goes back to understanding who you really are. So don't beat yourself up if you're not good at something, because you can get good at something by practicing it, but be realistic, right? Be realistic. Three, you know, observe leaders you respect. Very few leaders I have respect for, right? Because I look at some of them and I'm like, yeah, they shady. They're shady. And if they make a mistake, they don't own up to it and it's everybody else's fault. So be particular about what leaders you respect, that earn your respect or you give your respect to, but then observe their behaviors. You know, look at how they behave and conduct themselves, how they handle change, how they handle stress, right? That's important. Okay. Number four, try out different leadership styles, because I can tell you, you're not going to fit just in one bucket of those 6 main leadership styles. There are a whole bunch more, but those are the top 6. You're not just going to fit in that bucket, right? You may have elements from all 6 of them. So try it out. See what works for you, works for your personality, right? And then number 5, and this is important, find a mentor, okay? And years ago, I was at I heard Condoleezza Rice speak, and she said something very intriguing that stuck with me all these years. She said, when you find a mentor that shares the same passion that you do. They don't have to look like you, but all they need to do is share the same passion. And her point was, she wanted to be a Soviet specialist. And if she had waited for a Black female Soviet specialist, she'd still be waiting right now, right? Instead, she had old white, as in her words, old white men as her mentors because they were Soviet specialists and she wanted to learn more. So the point I'm making there, find a mentor, but understand your mentor doesn't have to look like you. Okay. And then get feedback from other leaders and your colleagues. And if you're managing people now, get feedback from your team. Don't get mad at it. Get it to understand, right? So you can understand how you're being perceived by others. And then there's a leadership style assessment. There's one online, there's a whole bunch of them, and they're free. And try it out, and they're pretty accurate. I did one a few years ago, and it was quite accurate. It shocked me. So you can do those things, right? And just understand that your leadership style may not just be one way. Okay. Any questions at this point? All right. Next slide, please. All right. So here at ServiceNow, now this is just a representative sample. So here at ServiceNow, we take development of leaders seriously, right? So to be a leader doesn't necessarily, you have to be a vice president or senior vice president or a director or those things. It means that you have this skill, whether it's developed or natural, to lead people, manage change, whether it's a team, a project, a program, or just even yourself, right? So we have these programs set up, the DIBS Leadership Summit, the Power 10 program. We have a mentoring program. It's both, we have a formal one and we have an informal one, and you can get all kinds of training that we have available. So the company you're working for probably has these resources as well. Take advantage of it. Go look it up. Go ask HR. I mean, that 9 times out of 10, you have access to these types of things at your current employer. Next slide, please. All right, so here's where we get to sobering statistics part 2. And again, this is more opportunity. I want you all to see opportunity. If you look at that first bullet, it says 48% of employees view their company's leadership as high quality. Woo! Woo! That is not good. That is not good. So that's an opportunity for you to step up and step in, right? Look at that third bullet. 20% of people with basic managerial talent, which can be cultivated into high quality leadership. Opportunity. That is opportunity. If you look at this data, I see opportunity, a lot of opportunity, okay? And then look at that. 69% of employees say they would work harder if their efforts were better recognized. So you as a leader or a manager, recognize your team, recognize your people. So if 69, more than half of those surveys said, hey, you know, if I were recognized for the work I'm putting in, hey man, I could squeeze out even more work, more productivity. So keep those things in mind as you start developing your leadership style or enhancing your current leadership style. Recognize your team, okay? But don't water it down where that recognition becomes meaningless. Do meaningful recognition, okay? All right, next slide. All right, so Victor, how will you improve your leadership effectiveness? What are some techniques that you think you can employ to improve your leadership effectiveness or enhance your leadership style?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I did just join like 30 seconds ago. So
Oh, okay.
if I'm giving it from what I would do versus what you presented, I could definitely do that.
Yeah, go ahead, by all means.
So my particular style and way I would go about improving leadership style and effectiveness is take an opportunity to listen to your employees and not listen corporately, listen individually. And sometimes that means hearing what they're not saying and observing how you can leverage that information to set them on a pathway of success. And the thing you'll find in that is as your employee experience success, that trust factor that grows between you and them, it heightens. And so to the point that you were just making in regards to that percentage and opportunity for people to do more, not that you're manipulating people to do more, but the folks that you work with will actually do more when they see you care, when they see you're responsive, when they see you're listening to not only what they can produce in results for you, but also what they're going through personally. So my touch is always personal. As I tell people, we're all professionals. So if we get paid to work, we're going to execute. So now what are those X factors that we can leverage? What are those levers we can pull that will get us a little more juice out of the lemon?
Woo, fantastic, Victor. That's perfect. I'm gonna call on Wahida Jones. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, sir. Can
I'm
you
not
hear me?
that old.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Troy. Which question did you want me to answer that same question?
Yes.
Oh, how would I improve my leadership effectiveness? So similar to someone who spoke earlier, I like to be in the weeds. I like to help my team, and I find myself really struggling with delegation. So that's something that I would want to improve upon. I have a direct democratic, dynamic style for leadership. So I like to include and be collaborative. I like to be transparent in my delivery. But where I struggle is delegation. And so in the effort to help, I'm actually harming by not, like you said, putting that trust in your associates to do the work, but also trying to shield them from some of all the chaos that's going on around them could also prevent them from, getting to the next level or exploring new things in your environment. So that's something that I know is, I'm self-aware. So it's something that I know I want to improve upon.
Good. I'm glad you mentioned that because, I think oftentimes we as Black folks, we're a little reticent to just be that delicative because we know we're being watched, right? But I will say this: build that trust with your team so it makes delegating easier, right? Like right now, I have no problem delegating anything to my team. So like when I'm out, when I'm on PTO or I'm out of office or something like that, I call him my XO. I have my XO. He takes over. I'm not even worried about it, right? And one of the things that I've done in all the teams that I've managed, I've worked with them to get them to be independent. So they're autonomous, right? I give them a certain level of autonomy. So one of my philosophies is what I call commander's guidance. So I'll give commanders guidance, meaning here's the box that we play in, and then I get the heck out of the way so my team can execute. I remove roadblocks from them. I shield them from as much BS as I can. I'm their cheerleader. I'm their coach. I'm those things. I'm their mentor. I'm those things to them, and I make myself readily available to them. But I set the expectation that I expect you to execute. If you don't have the resources you need, let me know, and I'll make sure you have what you need to execute, right? But giving them that autonomy and listening, not just hearing them, listening, and having regular communication, touch points that are meaningful, and recognizing the work that they're putting in, whether you're giving them kudos or, sometimes I'll give a team what is called the commander's coin, right? They did something excellent or something like that. So keep them encouraged, right? I always try to keep my team encouraged and inspired. So every Monday, I send out a communication that's hopefully inspiring. And then end of the week, like this afternoon, I'll send another communication out on how we did, what we did well, where we can improve, and go from there. And I have my team's back. Always have your team's back, even if they're doing wrong, right? Have their back, but then you correct them offline.
Definitely agree with that. Definitely, I agree with everything that you stated here. I also think too, sometimes it depends on the level that your team is at, right? So I've managed teams that are at a higher performing level where you do feel comfortable providing that autonomy. You can give them a task, that they will go out and seek and do their own research to figure things out. And then there's certain levels that you need a little bit more hand holding. You're gonna be, I think for me, the time that it takes is where I struggle, right? So it's not that I don't necessarily trust them, but if it's gonna take you twice as long to do the task and I need it done in a certain amount of time, I may then go on and do it myself. And that's where I need to reevaluate, right? So
and that I will say in that case, bring that person along with you. Don't do the task yourself. You bring them along with you. And coach them, right? Coach them on getting the task done. I think that'll help you.
Thank you.
Yep. So, all right, next slide, please. So now I'm going to get into the career planning piece of it. And this is extremely important, right? And I'm being aware of the time. So you have to plan your career. I tell every team that I have, I'm not managing your career. I'm not going to manage your career. Not my job. My job is to help you get to your next level, whatever next level it is based on your definition, not mine, right? Your next level could be lateral. It could be a step up. It could be anything. It could be going into a totally different skill set, right? So you need to manage your career. So identify the things that, the areas that you want to pursue, and develop. What are my long-term objectives, right? You got to really think about that, and you can't base your career on other people. So many people are in careers that they don't even like because they told, if I become an engineer, or if I get in IT, or if I, get into marketing, if I do this, I'll be considered successful, right? And they're miserable. I know software engineers that hate writing code, and then scratches my head like, okay, why are you writing code if that's not what you want to do? Oh, they want to do more product management type of things. And so what are you doing to get there? Are you taking product management classes? Stanford even has a certificate program in product management. Are you doing that? Are you joining organizations that are around product management and things like that? So what I'm saying is, manage your career. Nobody's going to manage it for you. You shouldn't have the expectation that your manager or your leader is going to manage it for you. It's yours. It's your career. Next slide, please. So I'm not going to read through this, but I want to emphasize two things on here, and this kind of dovetails into your leadership style and all those kinds of things. So number one, I want to emphasize that second bullet point under number one: relationships with your coworkers and your boss. Think about that. What is my relationship with my boss? What is my relationship with my coworkers? And just because you want to have a good relationship with your boss doesn't mean you're brown nosing. If somebody is telling you that, cut them out your life, because this is your career, not theirs. Somebody telling you brown nosing, they're haters. Get rid of them. Cut them out. Cut them out, because you are responsible for your career. So pay attention to bullet point number two under number one. And then number two, that self-exploration. We talked about that in finding your leadership style and things like that. Understand what you're interested in. Understand your values. Understand the skills that you have and where you have skill gaps. And more importantly, it's really understanding where you have skill gaps. What is your personality like? Are you outgoing? Are you like me? Believe it or not, I'm not outgoing. I'm actually more of an introvert. It may seem contradictory what I'm saying, but I really am. I internalize a lot of things and like to keep to myself, right? So think about those things that would work with your personality. And then I'm skip number three, go to number four, experiential education. Okay. You might have a full-time job, but you might have opportunity to do an internship or an externship. You can volunteer, especially if you're into technology and writing code. There are a lot of volunteer opportunities where you can learn how to code, right? And learn new technology. You can learn AI, you can learn machine learning, you can learn those things. You can learn data science and things like that. You can do those. So you don't have to wait for your employer or your MBA or your master's in computer science. You don't have to wait for that crap. There are opportunities out there where you can acquire skills, a lot of times for free. And then decision-making. This is where you want to be decisive, right? You want to prioritize your needs, right? What are my goals, right? Goals and objectives are slightly different. What are my goals? What are my objectives, okay? And then create an action plan. And that's key. Create it, but then execute on it. Plans without action means nothing, right? Plans without action means nothing. You're not doing anything, right? And then do some reality testing. Is this reality, right? Oh, I want to be a brain surgeon. You have no background in science or anything. Is that realistic? It could be. I don't know. It could be, but be realistic. Okay. So Tiffany, I'm calling on you, Tiffany. What do you think there are opportunities out there to learn and acquire skills?
Yes. If this is Tiffany Tan you're asking about, yes.
Yes.
There is opportunities. I'm actually helping my daughter as she recently graduated last Saturday on getting a data analytics certification. As she is taking a year off, I am trying to compel her to continue to work towards her goal, but always have a backup plan. My dad always told me I needed a trade, right? And at that point in time, when you're 18, you don't recognize what he's saying because you always need something to fall back on. And when you go to the Google certifications, most of those data analytics are actually free, and it's just self-paced. And it's all about how you, what your desire is at that moment. So I think I know that there's, being in technology, I know that there's a lot of certifications that are free, as well as for my own self. I am, and maybe I'm rambling too much, I am studying for my project management certification as well as SAFE certifications. So just different methodologies that I will have to help assist in my role that I'm currently in, just to benefit me as an individual, but also to bring to my career and my job every day.
Great. And one thing I will say, I'm glad you brought that up. Certifications are great, but at the same time, try to couple that with some real world experience. So if you're working on your PMP, for example, is there a small project that you can manage? You know, you might be part of a nonprofit organization, manage a project there, right? And that shows, that can demonstrate. So
yeah, so I'm actually a project manager now. I'm an enterprise project manager. I'm just,
yeah,
trying to shore up my skills, right?
Yep.
In this role. So.
Right. And one of the things that I'll mention is, the minute that you get comfortable in the role or the skills that you have, that's the moment that you should be acquiring new skills, especially in technology. Technology changes so quickly, and I'll share this really quickly. I know we only have 9 minutes left. Back during the dot-com bust, I had database administration skills and all that kind of good stuff, right? But I got laid off, and the market wasn't paying for DBAs at the time. They wanted web developers, right? And I was like, man, I'm a DBA. I know Oracle, I know SQL Server, I know all these databases, and I'm the man. Why can't I get a job? Because I didn't have all the skills that the market was paying for, right? And that was a wake-up call for me to constantly update my skills, constantly learn. So, you've heard the term lifelong learner. I am one. I've made myself one, especially in technology. Okay, next slide, please. So I'll go through this really quickly. Make sure your LinkedIn account, if you have one, is up to date. Make sure your resume is tight. I have a running resume, so it's just a simple Word document, and every new thing I learn or do that's significant, I'll put it in there, and then I'll polish up my resume later. And as a hiring manager, one thing that I do not like is when I get a generic resume. I don't even read it. If it's not tailored to the position in which you're applying, I'm not even going to read it. I tell my recruiter, don't even send it to me. I don't even want to see it. So, because if you don't tailor your resume, you just send it out on blast, that tells me you're lazy. I'm going to perceive you as lazy because you didn't take the time to tailor it, at least put the buzzwords in from the job description in there, or things that are tangential or related to that job in there, okay? Look for organizations, right? Join those. Make use of career services, right? whether it's at school or you know, the state, the employment office, all those have different career services. You know, leverage your peers, you know, ask for guidance, connect with people in the same field or field that you're interested in going to, connect with them, right? And then recruiting, you know, ask about progression and what progression means to you. It doesn't necessarily mean vertical, it could mean horizontal, right? So ask about those, right? Inquire about lateral opportunities and things like that. Next slide, please. And then while you're on the job, you know, we talked about this earlier, you know, mentorship, be a mentor or be a mentee, right? Build a relationship with your manager. That's important, right? Networking, and your manager should be exposing you to new opportunities, right? That person should be. I'll give you a quick example. On one of my teams, a young man wanted to go on the product management side. And he came to me and said, hey, Troy, you know, I'm interested in product management. I said, okay. I went and talked to the VP of product management. And I said, hey, I got a young man over here that's interested in being a product manager. He has these skills. And I got him hooked up over there at ServiceNow. He went on to ITAM product management. So as a leader, those are things that you should be doing. Okay. And as a, you know, an employee, those are the things you should be doing, building that relationship. And then figure out progression. What does that look like for you? And then use your company resources. They got all kinds of stuff. Like, you know, you got groups, interest groups within your company. You got external programs sponsored by your company. Make use of it. There's a lot of things out there. Next slide, please. So just use that SMART method. I'm not going to read that. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. And then next. So one thing I want to say about this when you're interviewing. So doing technical interviews are easy. You can write some code. You can do that, you know, do some pseudo code. What I look for are essential skills, right? How do you communicate? How do you present? How do you solve problems? Those are the types of things that I want to do. And remember, when you're being interviewed, you're also interviewing that company. You're interviewing that manager, that future boss of yours. You're interviewing your future coworkers. So ask the right questions. You know, don't be shy. You know. And I ask things like, what is your culture like? Do you have a punishment culture? Do you have a reward culture? Do I have autonomy? Do you accept diversity of ideas and things like? I ask those questions in interviews, right? So don't be afraid to interview the interviewers. Okay. Next slide. I think this might be the last one. Then I'll open it up to additional questions. So these are 3 tips from me, being a hiring manager. Be professional, be prepared. And here's one thing that I want to give you guys, get everyone on here. If you interview with a person like me, I'm going to ask you a question that I know you don't know the answer to. And I ask it because I want to see if I can trust you. So if I ask that question, you don't know the answer, and you say, hey, Troy, I don't know the answer, I'll follow up, green flag, I like you. If you say, Troy, I don't know the answer, and that's the end of what you say, red flag. If you give me a BS answer, make something up on the spot, red flag. That means that I can't trust you. You're not going to be honest, okay? And then the other one, the middle one is, you know, that tells me you have to be told what to do all the time. I don't have time for that. I can't, as a leader, I can't tell you what to do all the time. You're an adult and a professional. So those are the ones from me. And be curious, right? Be curious. Ask questions. Interview the interviewer, okay? All right. So we got a couple minutes. I'll open up to you any questions. Happy to answer, whether it's for me or Patricia.
Any questions from anyone on the line, feel free to unmute, or you can drop your questions in the chat.
Yep. Clarence? Gilbert? How about Tremis?
I have a question, and hopefully the background noise is not interfering. So I've been in project management for over 15 years or so. I do not have my PMP. So as I apply to positions and where they say PMP preferred or strongly preferred or even required, but I have 15, 20 years experience. Because I find I don't always get a response because I have to really make my cover letter really detailed. Would you recommend like diving into PMP at this point and just getting it to back up the experience?
Yes, but here's the other thing. What I would say, demonstrate in your resume. Oh, this is a good tip. So demonstrate in your resume the actions that you have taken and what the result. When I see project managers say, I manage this project, I manage that project, I don't care. I want to see what actions did you take. I delivered this project ahead of schedule, on budget, and things like that, right? You want to show, somebody just put that, Timothy Butts, just put that in there. Show strong results. Your resume as a project manager, anybody's resume, should show an action, the results of that action to drive some kind of outcome, right? So action, results to achieve an outcome. So if you structure your resume like that, you don't have to worry about a PMP.
Absolutely, and rely on your transferable skills. So you may not have had the title before, but I'm sure that you've done some of those skills that they're looking for. So make sure that's evident in your cover letter and your resume as well.
No,
Yep.
and thank you for that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, tell them what you can do. Tell your story, what you bring into the table. So, like I said, don't say I managed this, I led that, I did this. Just say, I put processes into place which reduce mean time to resolution by 23%. So I took an action, drove a result, which reduced mean time to resolution by 23%, which increased the outcome increased customer satisfaction by 15%. I'm just making those numbers up, right?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you want to be able to quantify your existence. If I can't see results, I'm not going to mess with you.
Fair enough, absolutely. So thank you for that. I will definitely do more of that. I feel like I have amount of that in there because I'm an econ graduate, but I have a lot of technical solutions, SaaS solutions, SaaS implementations. And I feel like today the desire for a technical background in addition to the experience has been a little bit of a challenge, but more quantifiable information in my resume.
Yeah, the more quantifiable, people will pay attention. Hiring managers will pay attention. Okay.
Could I toss in one more thing?
Yes.
I would also recommend continue to get newer certifications. That way it always shows timeliness and your awareness of recent changes. Just always update yourself, keep it fresh.
Yes.
Even if you're just going out and just getting a white belt, a yellow belt or something in Six Sigma, it still shows that you're aware of the breadth of knowledge that's out there and that you're willing to stick your foot in the water and continue to expand.
Correct. And there are a lot of micro certification programs out there too. So, it might give you you know, it might give you an edge up. So you might not have to go with a full-blown certification program. There are micro certs out there, right? So they got plenty around decision science, right? Like data analytics. You can get a micro cert in that. So just think about those things. And I think that was Victor speaking.
Oh, it's Timothy.
Timothy. Yeah, Timothy is definitely correct. Keep your skills updated, keep it fresh, keep it moving.
Great, sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Well,
and I had one in the chat. I had a question in the chat, and it was, what is your favorite leadership assessment program to take? I can't think of the name of it, but I will get it. I'll get it to Devin, and he'll get it out to you. I can't. I don't remember the name right off my head, so I do apologize.
That's fine. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I
really
appreciate
enjoyed that.
everyone's time. I hope you got something out of it. I enjoyed talking with you. Feel free to hit me up. My LinkedIn is in the chat. You know, ping me anytime, and I'll respond.
Thanks for sharing with us today, Troy. As Troy alluded to in the chat, I did put a few links in there. So the link to our Tech and Career Talks webpage is in there, bdpa.org/tech and career talks. You'll be able to find this recording as well as our previous talks in there. They're also on our YouTube channel, National BDPA on YouTube. Go out there, like, subscribe, follow, comment, all that good stuff. Make sure you register for BDPA Con 23. We'll be in Atlanta August 17th through the 19th at the Westin Peachtree Plaza. So definitely do that. That link is in there, conference.bdpa.org. And I also share links for Troy's LinkedIn as well as Patricia's LinkedIn. And Patricia, I know you shared something earlier. There we go. There's a LinkedIn page in there. So if you want to connect with Patricia, Troy, or ServiceNow at large to explore opportunities and continue to advance your careers, please do that. We want to make sure you take advantage of all that was shared today. Troy, was that the DISC assessment you were thinking about by chance?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So
Thank you.
So K, I don't know what the K stands for, but the DISC assessment, I've taken that one myself.
Yeah.
Probably the best one I've taken.
Yeah, it's the best one out there. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it, but that's it. Yes.
Yep. DISC.
Yep. And just, I will say this, and I'm not joking when I'm saying this, I'm a straightforward person. Anybody knows me. ServiceNow is a great company, and you can be yourself. Okay, this is the first corporation where I could be myself, and it's liberating. Woo! It is liberating. Okay. All right.
That, Troy. All right. Anything else before we close for today?
Thank you all. We look forward to hearing from you.
Definitely.
All right.
Will do.
All right. Thank you all. Stay safe.
Hit me up on LinkedIn.
We'll see you
Will
soon.
do. Take care, everyone.
Bye.